Hello and welcome back to Physics Teacher. So this question I got from one of my viewers who needs some help with their grade 12 physics dynamics test coming up. So let's solve this problem together. So here we have a student constructs an accelerometer. That's just something that measures acceleration by attaching cork balls to strings. This is actually quite complicated. So let's just draw what this looks like. So they have a fish tank, and let me just draw the water level, and then in the fish tank they take a string, fix it to the bottom, and then they attach some sort of cork ball on the end, and so it floats. But then when you accelerate, so let's say the whole car then accelerates in this direction, this will go back like so. And it says it makes an angle of 16 degrees with respect to the vertical. So this angle here is 16 degrees. Now, based on that, what is the car's acceleration? So this is a question I usually talk about when we're learning about inertial frames of reference and non-inertial frames of reference. Because if we look at this problem, well, in the vertical, we've got gravity and the buoyancy force balancing each other out. But then we've got tension, right? And tension is in this direction. And if we break tension up into components, right, it's got a down component with gravity that balances out buoyancy, but then it's just got this one component over here. And if you're in the car viewing it and you have no idea about the outside world, that makes no sense, because from your point of view, the ball's at rest. So how is there an unbalanced force acting on it? And that's because it's the ball's own inertia. And we see that if we step outside of the vehicle, say at the side of the road, because we see the car and the fish tank moving, accelerating forward. So the acceleration is due to that component of tension. So let's have, here we have Ft, and here we have Ftx. Now, whenever you're drawing your free body diagram, you need to make sure you have a coordinate system. And I always say, choose the positive direction to be the same direction as acceleration. So let's choose this as positive x. And then perpendicular to that, we'll choose a positive y. Now, since acceleration is along x, let's apply Newton's second law and say the sum of all forces in x is equal to mass times acceleration. So acceleration for our little accelerometer here is due to Ftx, the tension force in x. Now I can, since this is a right angle triangle here, I can solve for Ftx by saying Ftx is equal to Ft times the sine of 16 degrees. So where did that come from? Well, right angle triangle, so we used SOHCAHTOA, so the sine of 16 is equal to opposite, so Ftx, over hypotenuse, which is Ft. And then we'll multiply both sides by Ft, and we get this expression here. So I can replace Ftx with just Ft times the sine of 16 degrees, which equals mass times acceleration. Now in this example, we have the ball. Oh, the ball's floating to the surface, so I drew the water level at the wrong location. But that's pretty much telling us if the ball's just at the surface, gravity will be equal to the buoyancy force. So I can draw an upwards buoyancy force that will be equal to gravity. So let's just call it mg. So on the side, let's look at all of our forces that act in y. Typically, we're going to do this a lot in grade 12, is we're going to do Newton's second law for both x and y components. And for y, we're going to set it equal to 0 since there's no acceleration in y. All we have is this buoyancy force, which is equal to mg, and then minus this Fty component, this down component. So minus Fty, and that equals to 0. So we have mg equals to fty. If we bring this term to the other side of the equation, but similarly, as we did here, we can solve for what it is in reference to tension. So we can say the cos of 16 degrees equals fty over ft. So when we multiply both sides by ft, this is equal to ft cos 16. And then if we divide both sides by cos 16, we get mg over cos 16 equals ft. So why did I do that? Because I want to take that expression for tension and substitute it back into this equation. Again, we do this a lot in grade 12 physics too, where we solve a system of equations. This one being two equations for two unknowns. I don't know acceleration, and I do not know tension. But substituting this equation for tension leaves us with only one unknown. So here we have mg divided by cos 16. And then we still have this sine 16 here is equal to ma. Mass is the same on both sides, so they cancel. And my students love it when I use trig identities. No, that's not true. They hate it. But it really simplifies things. So sine 16 divided by cos 16 is just tan 16. So this is g tan 16, which equals acceleration. So such a complicated problem gets simplified so you can figure out what acceleration is by just taking the value for gravity, 9.81 meters per second squared, and multiplying it by the tan of that angle that it makes. And when we do that, let's get our calculators, we get 2.8. So our answer is 2.8 meters per second squared. Well, I hope that helps. If you have any questions, you can let me know in the comments, or in the description you can get any one of my free course packs signing up for the VIP list, where you can then ask me these questions yourself and I'll try to make a video for them. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.